Hello, and welcome back to the Camera Brave Show. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Today, we are going to talk about the fact that video is unavoidable. I'm going to dive into exactly what I mean by video is unavoidable, give you a couple of exercises to see how this can relate to whatever field you are in, and we're going to talk about how our brains process video lightly. We're not going to get super sciencey here, but we are going to talk about the way that our brains process video as opposed to still images and the actual effort that goes into creating video, which is going to be probably less than you think. So let's go ahead and dive right in today and talk about how video is unavoidable. I want you to try to go on social media and not see a video. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about apps like Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest. When you go onto those sites, which they're sites that started off as photo sharing apps, or in Pinterest's case, a photo type search engine. But when you're going onto those apps today, it's impossible to not see video content on any of those apps. Video is everywhere. You cannot avoid it. At first, we had sites like YouTube or even Vine. I think I just dated myself, but yeah, Vine was a thing where it was strictly video content. And then with things like TikTok, which has an insane following and an insane growth rate, apps like Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest really started to incorporate video because TikTok really started this era of short content. I mean, TikTok, I think it's only 60 seconds or less. So apps like Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest started to incorporate those sort of 60-second videos. So when I say video is unavoidable, I mean, really think about it. If you're going to those apps that aren't necessarily video sharing apps, there's video everywhere. And I want to talk now about why that is. And it really comes down to our brains. Our brains love video. They love that visual stimuli. And I have this statistic I found from a study done by 3M, the Post-it note makers. And their research concluded that our brains process visual content faster. Their study showed that we process visual content 60,000 times faster than text. Our brains process visual content 60,000 times faster than text. What does that mean? When we're talking about marketing, what that means is when your audience is scrolling and they see your content, if they're able to catch on quicker and to understand what you're talking about faster, like 60,000 times faster, they're going to stick around and see what else you have to say or learn something from you, or at least get to the end of whatever reason that you have for captivating their attention in the first place. Whereas if you're scrolling and you see something that doesn't instantly click, I don't know about you, but I keep scrolling. If it doesn't grab my attention, if it doesn't stand out, if I don't get it, I'll keep scrolling. So when you're able to get their attention faster, you're able to hold on to their attention and actually get through the content that you've prepared and that you're delivering. And if you're new to the Camera Brave Show, we talk a lot about content and how important it is, but hooks are important, and grabbing your audience's attention is important as well. So visual stimuli like video is going to get your audience's attention quicker, and our brains are just scientifically wired to gravitate towards visual content like video. Another statistic, fact, this is a fact because there's no number in it, so it's not a statistic. Another fact, visuals have better retention and comprehension rates. So that's sort of what I had touched on whereas you're getting your audience's attention quicker. So they're picking up on what exactly you're saying and they're staying. But not only that, but they're retaining that information. So if your goal is to teach and inform and educate, if you're doing so through video, they're more likely not just to comprehend it, but to retain it later. And that is very impactful, because if they're retaining that information and thinking on it later, when you're able to make someone think and to teach and to educate, they're going to be more likely to come back to you and to want to learn more and to want to stay on your page and to continue to rock with your brand, honestly. So those are two main ways that our brains love video. So now to jump back to a marketing perspective, I want to give you a little assignment here to, once this episode is over, go and take a look around in your field and see who is using video. There's one of two outcomes here, right? Either you're going to see a bunch of people using video in your field, or you're just going to see a lot of photo in your field. So take whatever app you're on primarily, whatever you're really heavy hitting your social media on for your marketing. To give you an example, let's say Instagram. So I was recently talking with an entrepreneur friend of mine who is a cookie baker. And this exercise for her would look like looking at different cookie bakers on Instagram and seeing if there's a lot of video content out there. If there's just a lot of photos out there, then her creating short little videos of her baking cookies or showing all the different toppings and different variety that she has to offer, that's going to get attention, especially baking videos. We love baking videos just online in general. So what I would say to her is, if you're seeing a bunch of photos when you're looking at fellow cookie bakers, then I would really want you to start making videos. And you can start off just kind of doing one of you baking, doing one of the outcome, whatever is easy and quick for you. It doesn't have to be necessarily a difficult video, but getting that content out there is going to help her stand out in the cookie baking business. Now, if she goes and looks at cookie baking on Instagram and sees a bunch of video content, if all these other cookie bakers are creating videos of them baking, of what their product is, of whatever sort of content they're creating, if it's in video form, then I would tell her the only way for her to stand out is going to be with video. Because when people are looking for content, if they're seeing all of this video, their brains are going to retain it 60,000 times faster, and they're going to be more captivated by a video. So if in her field, no one is doing video, then that's going to be a great way for her to stand out. And if in her field, everyone is doing video, that's going to be the only way for her to keep up and to stand out. And a way that I would encourage her to actually be able to stand out if there's a bunch of video content in whatever field you're in is to create high quality video and not drag it out, but kind of make it short and punchy and to get people's attention. So doing things like lighting, having a nice background, those sort of little techniques will really help to increase your likelihood to stand out if there's a bunch of video in your field. So I want to encourage you to do this exercise. Look around and see in your field who's using video or who's not using video. Because if people are using it, then you're going to need to use it to keep up. Or if people aren't using it, then you have an excellent opportunity to stand out. A second level of this exercise is to take a look at leaders in your industry. So industry leaders are, coaches, people who do what you do, but maybe have a big following, or they've been in business for several years. Those sort of industry leaders, take a look at what they're doing. Because if they're successful in their field, if they've been in business for years, if they are making a profit, a pretty nice profit, I'm going to guarantee that they do video in some format, because industry leaders are ahead of the marketing curve. They know that marketing is important. When we're just starting out and we're entrepreneurs, marketing can kind of get pushed. Honestly, marketing becomes the thing that we kind of put off because we have so many things to do as entrepreneurs. We have so many different hats that we're trying to wear. The marketing one kind of gets put on the back burner. But industry leaders, they know that marketing is important. They know that advertising and its sales come from marketing. I guarantee you that an industry leader in whatever industry you're in is doing some video format. They're either on YouTube, they're either doing lives, they're probably doing stories daily. They're maybe doing reels, they may be on TikTok. They may not be doing all of these things because video isn't a one size fits all strategy. And there's going to be different strategies that will be more beneficial to whatever industry you're in. But if it's an industry leader, I'm going to guarantee that they are incorporating video into their marketing strategy. Something to think about, okay? So here's what I would like to encourage you to do with this podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, then this video. I would like you to remove yourself from the equation. If you find yourself putting off marketing, if you find yourself intimidated of the idea of video, if you feel that video is going to require more time and more effort, I just want you to pause all of those thoughts. And I want you to think about video, not in terms of the marketing perspective that you may be approaching it from if you're an entrepreneur, but think about it from this educational and scientific point of view as to how the brain of your audience is going to receive your information. While you may be putting marketing on the back burner, you know it's important. You know that you have to create content. You know that you have to be on social media. What if instead of doubling the amount of work you had to put into your marketing efforts, you could supplement the work that you're already putting in, the content you already know that you need to be creating, and instead be creating content that your audience is going to process 60,000 times faster. I'm not asking you to do more work when I want you to add video into your marketing strategy. I want you to instead be utilizing the strategies that are currently trending, that are currently what your audience is consuming every day. If you go on social media and you see video everywhere, same thing for your target audience. When they go on social media, they're seeing video everywhere. And what I want is for you to build a marketing strategy where they're seeing your videos. I've given you a lot of assignments in this episode, but I'd also like to give you one more. If you think that video is more time and more effort than you are willing to put in, than you have time for, I get it. If you're running your own business, especially if you're just starting, or honestly, even if you're a little bit further along and you're finally getting into this whole marketing thing, I understand that your time is very valuable and that something that you've never tried before is more high effort than something that you're familiar with. So if you're already doing infographics and making them with Canva, that's going to feel like less effort than video because you already have a system. If you're already doing blog posts and creating these long format texts, that's going to feel less effort to you because it's not new. It's something you already know. But when it comes to video, once you can get past the learning curve, it's going to maximize your efforts because all the social media platforms are pushing video heavy right now. And yes, there's a caveat because Instagram will push reels this week and Facebook will push lives this week. And there's different formats. But once you get in the process of creating video, and once you get past that learning curve, you're going to be able to create low effort and not time consuming videos. Here's the assignment within this whole description here. I want you to track how much time you're spending on Canva or whatever photo editing app you're using, creating your social media content. Because if you're already curating high quality content, then you're already putting in time and effort. And when you can add video to your marketing strategy, you're not going to be adding hours every week creating and editing and slaving away at videos. You're just going to be supplementing some of the images that you're already posting. And instead of spending the time creating those images, you'll be spending the time creating videos. So my goal isn't to add to your plate as a busy entrepreneur for all of these hours of creating and editing video. My goal is to create a diverse marketing strategy that is both photo and video that works for you, your brand, and your company. The truth is that the effort to take video right now is lower than it's ever been. I studied videography. I freelanced as a videographer. I know Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a rather complex editing software. And when I shoot content, me, as someone who went to school and paid for an education in video production, I shoot it on my phone. Or right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, or even if you're listening to it, this isn't being shot on my expensive high-end camera. This is being shot on Zoom off of a webcam and a mic, both of which were purchased off Amazon and cost together a fifth of what my beautiful camera costs. When you're going live, you can't go live from a high-end camera. You have to go from your phone or from your computer. So my whole point here is to tell you that as far as the effort and time to put into creating video, it's never been easier. You don't have to use editing apps. There's things like iMovie, or when you're creating reels, it allows you to edit them right then and there. You can take video, add music, add text in an instant, all in one app without massive amounts of importing and exporting. It's insane to me to see the evolution of video. And it's so amazing for you as an entrepreneur or business owner because there's such a low barrier to entry right now for video. You don't have to hire a videographer and editor. You can go live from your phone right now, talk to your audience. You don't even have to edit it. Or you can create video and edit them with simple free apps and put them on things like YouTube. There's never been a lower barrier to entry for the world of video than there is right now. So to conclude, as you walk away from this episode, I want you to, first of all, look around in your field, just do a quick search, whatever social media site you're on the most, and see what everyone is doing. Is there a lot of video content out there, or is it mostly photo? If it's mostly photo, then you have found your edge. You have found the way for you to stand out. If everyone in your field is posting photo, you know how to stand out. It's through video. And if everyone in your field is already sharing videos, already creating and posting video, then you should feel a little fire in the belly to want to be creating video content, like sooner than you're thinking. Sooner than you may be putting it off in the marketing scheme of things and the one-day goals and the when I grow and the when I have time, all that whole monologue that we have in our heads. If you're seeing video content already in your field, you're gonna want to push those one-day thoughts to maybe I could start this journey now. And secondly, take a look at what the industry leaders are doing. In whatever industry you are in, look to those with big audiences, look to those who are well established, who have success, who you genuinely look up to, and I guarantee you, you're going to find some format of video. They're going to be either on Facebooks? Yep. I just said Facebooks. They're either going to be creating content for YouTube. That's where my brain was going, was YouTube videos, to make that plural. Or they're going to be on Facebook or Instagram doing reels or TikTok. They're going to be on one of those sites creating video actively. And then the third thing I'd like you to do is seriously consider how much time you're already putting into creating content. And if you are not creating content, I hope that this encourages you to start and to realize how important it is. And if you haven't started creating content yet, it's okay. And if you haven't started creating content yet, I really want you to start thinking about video, because if you're starting from scratch and just beginning to build your marketing plan, building it with video is going to be the most optimal strategy for you. I also want to point out that at this rate, on the Camera Brave show, we're on episode 12. And I've decided I'm going to allow things like little bloopers. And when I mess up and kind of stumble on words, I'm not going to edit them out as frequently, because I think that it could help encourage you and help find this content a little more relatable. Because the truth is that if it's not distracting from the content that I have already laid out for you, then I don't think there's any harm in leaving little bloopers in, and the times that I do trip over my words, because of course that happens. And I think at this rate in the show, if you're new here, then welcome, because we're now incorporating the mess ups because it's human. And I always talk about having prepared your content over perfecting your content. And if you're not new here, then you're going to get a glimpse into the real life bloopers, because that's how life goes. And that's one of the beautiful things of video. So that was a little bunny trail there, but it's something that I decided to be intentional about now that I'm a little bit more established and I'm feeling more confident in these episodes for you. Because yes, while I've been comfortable and confident on camera since before I started Camera Brave, confidence continually grows and it continually strengthens. I hope that that little tangent at the end really meant something to someone, because I really felt the need to dive into that a little bit more. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found this content relatable or impactful in any way, I'd love to encourage you to share this episode with a friend. And as always, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will see you next time on the Camera Brave Show.